cracking of bushes. Let's move on a little bit down the road here. Oof. This sounds absolutely delicious. Thank you, Sandy. You've explained to me what lobster thermidor is, and as your explanation finished, that buffalo looked up in immense jealousy at the thought of eating lobster thermidor instead of the grass that he is having to eat. Sorry, old fella. Lobster thermidor, for those of you who don't know, thank you, Sandy, is boiled lobster or steamed lobster in a rich cheesy sauce that is stuffed back into the shell and served. I think the cheesy sauce has got brandy in it, cream sauce with brandy, sorry, and served with a brown cheese crust. Is that correct? Oh, an oven browned cheese crust. Oh, Louise can hardly talk to me. She's salivating so much. I don't blame her. Doesn't that sound nice, Eggsy? Yeah. Would you rather have that than Dicrostachys cinerea in a bark? Oh, it's a close thing for Eggsy, everyone. He is from Cape Town, so we won't hold that against him. As Basil Fawlty said of Manuel, please excuse him, he is from Barcelona. So we say about Eggsy. We're on a hyena road, Louise. Louise is wondering what road we're on. Isn't that nice? Alright, let's carry on down the road here before these buffalo get really cross with me talking about lobster thermidor. Let's carry on. Ephraim is saying something on the radio. Oh, here we got more here. There we are. Yeah, this is much better. Sorry, I am just listening to the radio to find out what Ephraim has found. It's a pangolin, everyone, but it's on torchwood, so we can't go there and look. Isn't that nice? They found a pangolin on torchwood. Now, a pangolin, for those of you who don't know, I know that it's not really appropriate to talk about another animal while I'm looking at one specific one, but a pangolin is so special, and I'm going to. It looks like a sort of an armadillo type thing, and it's very rare, and they're just spectacular to look at. So I'm just going to show you a picture, but unfortunately we can't go down there because it's on Torchwood, which is the reserve to the east of us, in case you were wondering. Right, Eggsy, let's just have a quick look at the pangolin here. These beefies don't seem to be going anywhere at all. There are a number of different species of pangolin. Look at these very strange creatures, but this is the one that we've got there. It's called a ground pangolin, and all of these scales are keratin in the same way that your nail or a rhino horn is keratin. Isn't that nice? Spectacular little thing, and it folds itself into a defensive ball. Right, I think we'll probably sit with these buffalo for a little bit longer, and then we'll press on and see what else we can see. While we do that, let's head across to Stefan Winterboer. He is on foot, of course, and will have something fascinating to tell you.
You know, the nice thing is that Brent's not the only one who can't get my name and surname right. I think I've been practicing for the last almost 40 years and I still can't get my pronunciation right. What we've got here is something that we don't show too often on Safari Live or on Wild Earth, and that's because there's really not too many of them around. And as you can see, there's this vast area. I will move quickly from one side of it to another. From here, that leg, here, all the way to here is one circular discolored patch, and then you'll notice some dung here and here, and not that one, that's elephant, but there on that side, nothing more. All right, and this is a rhino's latrine site. This is what rhino cannot resist using. They really enjoy using these. Basically what it is, it's a communal toilet. Males will come in and they will kick their dung, and they use it as a type of fence post, getting the smell of their dung on their feet. And then when they walk through their territory, as they're walking through their territory, they're putting these nice smelly footprints all over the place. And rhinos, using their fantastic sense of smell, can determine between different individuals and also different sexes and the maturity thereof just by the smell of that particular scent on their feet. Female rhino, they don't kick their dung, but they also cannot resist visiting these latrine sites, and it's just so nice to see that you know, we have these latrine sites still on. I don't know for how long we'll be able to see rhinos still in our lifetime, or even our children for that matter of fact. In particular in the wild, they are getting rarer and rarer. With an interesting bit of trivia the other day about the Sumatran rhino, now extinct in the wild because of poaching and the trade in rhino horn. So wherever you are in the world, please do not buy rhino horn product. You might as well just eat your fingernail clippings for all that it'll do for you, because that's all it is. It's just a big fingernail, and instead of growing on the end of their hands, it grows on the end of their nose. Now, why is it black when I will compare it to a piece of elephant dung? And if you just give me, and of course when you look for a piece of elephant dung, hold on 1 second. All the sprinting that I do with James, paying off. All right. So why is a piece of elephant dung brown and a piece of rhino dung black? Quite simply, rhinos, they eat a lot of grass, white rhinos at least anyway, and the silica in their dung oxidizes black. Elephant don't eat as much grass. They still eat a lot of grass, but they don't eat as much, and so they don't get that oxidation, and so what you get is a much lighter colored dung. Then you also have the presence of sticks in an elephant dung. That's a chewed up stick, and you absolutely won't have sticks in white rhino dung. You'll just have chewed up grass. As you see, no sticks present, just chewed up grass. And if it was a black rhino, it would be similar colored to the elephant, but instead of there being some grass as in the elephant, not this one because it's a dry season, but there will be some grass. It's a piece of grass. With a black rhino, there'll just be sticks, and small little sticks. Let me show you. I'm going to cut a piece of stick into a black rhino sized chunk. You have a 45-degree angle, and it'll basically look like that. As you can see there with that very angled tip, that'll tell you that it's a black rhino. Quite interesting, eh? Something that we don't really get to see a lot of here. Some noises that, excuse my distraction here, but there were some noises coming from behind us somewhere. Didn't sound like anything particularly dangerous, it just sounded quite big. Right, but it is open here, so it's not too much of a problem. Anyway, that is a rhino latrine site, or a midden as it's called. Oh, excuse my blank stare there while I was just busy listening to quite an interesting question that Scotty Dog, all the way from Durban, I think, has asked me. Scotty Dog wanted to ask why we don't show on the show these animals, these rhino, why we don't show them, and don't you think that us not naming them will create this impression that we don't care? And that's absolutely not 100% true, Scotty Dog. The reason why we don't show these animals on live TV is because we live and because we have such access, people have such access to this information. People may, and I'm not saying they could, but they may be able to find these animals because of what we are doing on TV. And to be honest with you, we just really are here to entertain you and to inform you of stuff. We're not here to do any sort of meaningful conservation work or anti-conservation work at all. And so we distance ourselves from that. There are many ways that you can interact with these animals, absolutely. It's just through this particular platform that we don't do that. For no other reason than just we do care a lot about these animals, and so we don't want to be seen to be hampering any conservation efforts or any anti-poaching efforts at all. So that's why we don't show these animals live. But anyway, let's carry on going. What else uses a midden? Very interesting. Impala use a midden, and there's an impala midden right there. We can go and have a look at that. Rhinoceros use a midden. We have hyena, they use a midden. Civets use a midden. At the entrance to a lot of mongoose hideouts, they have middens. Is there anything else that you can think of here with a midden? That's probably around about it. Steenbok use middens? No, they don't. They don't use middens. They bury their dung. And this is from impala. There must be an impala herd that lives around here, and this is the size of this midden. And they will not only defecate here, but they will also urinate on these middens. And it gives these middens a wonderful sort of urea smell. Not quite as bad as a dairy would have, but definitely when these middens are properly active, and that is around about the rutting season where these middens just are constantly used, they can produce quite a big stink, I must be honest with you. So now not in use that much, although there is some fresh dung from impala right here. There's nothing too bad. Fresh impala dung sticks to your stick. This is not sticking. There's some old urine there, probably a couple of days old. I would say was the last time that this was used. Alrighty, let's carry on our very interesting amble through this moonscape. Have a look in this tree. We've got a nest. Now, holes in trees are, I'll go there and go and point it out. Holes in trees are hot property. They are very difficult to come by. They are even more difficult to make. And they are very difficult to hold on to because bigger birds will kick you out. Not only bigger birds, but you've got bees, you've got bush babies, you've got snakes. Almost anything will use a hole in a tree. But have a look at that hole in the tree right up there. And in particular, have a look at how many claw marks are around the entrance there. I would almost say that this is absolutely in residence. Something is inside there. You can see those claw marks top and bottom. And because it is fresher, the claw marks on the bottom, but there are those holes just above it on the top lip, I would say that a woodpecker is in there. Now, woodpeckers and barbets are the only birds out here that actually make holes or cavity nests. They obviously make it for themselves first, and then they vacate those nests once their babies have fledged, and then that hole for generations, and I'm talking about in a hardwood tree like this that'll stay standing for 5, 10, 15 years, that hole gets used by a succession of birds and animals literally throughout the year, and will be literally hotly contested. You can see rollers at this time of the year will be having massive fights around prime nesting places. Woodpeckers, bush babies will use them quite often. Quite often you find these little primates that we have here, nocturnal primates called bush babies. They have some, and I can see just underneath the primary hole there's actually a secondary hole that looks like it's being formed. This game drive, we're going to send you over to James, who's got some buffalo to show you.
The same buffalo, everybody, the same buffalo, beautiful buffalo, and the sun just starting to settle now. I must just tell you, while we sit here watching these buffalo, we've been listening to everybody desperately trying to get into the pangolin sighting, and some of them clearly are very confused as to the layout of Biffle's Hook. And then, so there's one one person driving, and she said, well, you know, the road forks over here. Somebody confused that with a bad word and said, please don't swear on the radio. Then 4 or 5 of them seem to be trespassing on each other's properties. It's all rather amusing. I'm not going to play it for you live because they may say something nasty to each other. It's all rather funny. It is going on in my ear, so if you start to hear me giggling, you'll know what's happening. There are now, well, there are 4 of these buffalo around us here. There are further 2 down south behind us, and those others have crossed now also towards the west. So we've got a very nice little buffalo sighting going on here. And there's quite a lot of grass. Now that's quite interesting because obviously you know that we're in the midst of the dry season. There isn't a great deal of grass on many parts of this reserve, but if Eggsy zooms out slightly, thank you, Eggsy, those trees that you can see sticking up there are Terminalia sericea or silver clusterleaf trees. I'm just going to be quiet, just listen quickly. Just hear a woodpecker. How cool is that? Very nice. So what I was saying is that the silver clusterleaf means that this is it's a seep line, which means that there is possibly more water underneath the surface than there would be in other areas, and that's why there's a good deal of grass still here for these beefaloes to enjoy. Jennifer, you are a new viewer. It's lovely to have you with us. You say, is this a wildlife sanctuary? It most certainly is a wildlife sanctuary, Jennifer. It is a very large wildlife sanctuary, though. It is 8.5 million acres, or 3.5 million hectares of wildlife sanctuary. It's called the Kruger National Park. We're on a little piece of it on the western fringes called Djuma, and Brent was just earlier on another little piece called Arathusa. We also traverse a property to the east called Cheetah Plains, and all 3 of those are part of what we call the Sabi Sand, which is a collection of private farms that are attached to the Kruger National Park. There are no physical boundaries between us and the Kruger. In fact, there are no physical boundaries between us and quite a lot of Mozambique to the east of us, but there is a fence around the entire area. And so, yes, it's a wildlife sanctuary, but perhaps not in the way that you were thinking. I'm not sure. It's what we would call a national park, a very big national park. Thank you for joining us, and please stay with us, Jennifer. Let's have another look at these buffalo. The light's starting to get quite pretty on them as the sun begins to set. There we are. You can hear that woodpecker still. Tuck, 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 tuck. They're getting quite close now. And they're getting close because they're becoming more and more comfortable with us, which is just great. Now, I don't know how many of you enjoy watching buffalo. I'm often given the impression, or under the impression, that they're kind of well, I'm not sure that they're appreciated as much as they might be, and I wondered if any of you out there perhaps think of them as your favourite. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at WildEarthTV. It'd be good to know if there's anyone in the world out there who sees a buffalo bull and thinks, oh goodness, that's wonderful. I'm glad we're not with the lion cubs. I think they're quite splendid. They're not quite as splendid as lion cubs, though. Eggsy, here comes one, looking, grazing morosely towards us behind this tree. They do look slightly morose, I must say. You can just see his horn poking out there. That's very artistic, Eggsy. It's the Cape Town coming out on you again. Let me move a little bit. No, here he comes. Is he coming? There we are, while the woodpecker pecks away. We're going to spend another 3 or 4 minutes here, and then we're going to press on and see what else we can find. Head down the great valley of the Mrwamati drainage, where I suspect there might be some elephants. There might even be the rest of the Nkahuma pride. Alrighty, let's head across to Brent Leo Smith. I believe he has a tragelaphid to show you.
There we go, with a nice little family group of kudu, and that female busy picking the leaves of a leadwood tree. Quite a few of them through here. I'm just going to move forward a little, and let's say there's a young male. Doesn't quite have the biggest horns yet. Incredibly exquisite animals, kudu. One of our bigger antelope species we get here in the Sabi Sands. They weigh up to about 350 pounds. There's a little one. What are you eating? Ah, a red thorn, an acacia. Now, out of all our browsing species, they're probably going to do the best in the drought, apart from giraffe, of course. Now, the reason for this is that they are taller than the nyala and the bushbuck, so they have access to food that some of the other browsing species might not be able to get, just from a lack of height. Here comes the rest of the family group. Look at that. So we asked a little bit earlier for you guys to let us know where in the world you were watching from. So we're going to start going through some of that. We've got, of course, the US of A with 15 different states watching this evening. We have Canada and we have South Africa, the first three of our list of countries where people are enjoying the African bushveld live from the comfort of their own homes or in the office being naughty. Oh, there we go. Australia as well. Kuwait. Have you heard one of Kuwait? Kuwait's a nice new one. And of course, England. Oh, there we go. Another three. Japan, Thailand, and Spain. And then the last three, Hungary, Finland, and Germany, yes. What a diverse bunch of viewers you guys are. Thanks very much for sending in where you guys are watching from. We really do love to know whereabouts in the world you might be. And it is amazing. So how many was that? That was 12 countries? 12 different countries are joining us in the African bush for a live safari. And some beautiful backlit kudu moving through a shot at the moment. Now, I wonder where the Nkahuma pride could have disappeared to. We're in the general area that James has been checking, and we're going to give him a hand, see if we can't rub some killer bee luck into the situation. Now, another interesting thing is that this evening is full moon, and I didn't even realize that there's a very dangerous creature on the back of my vehicle. So the whole safari live camp has to be where? It's the were-thumb. Oh my goodness, isn't it a scary beast? The were-thumb. You know, I'm glad I don't live in the DRC. Who knows what the were-thumb is going to get up to on the full moon. Oh, Jane, hi. It's a bit of a sad story. I shouldn't laugh too much. So we have two very different sets of cubs that we're seeing at the moment. we have the Nkahuma cubs, who are your picture perfect postcard lion cubs. You could not get a fluffier, more pretty little lion cub than the Nkahuma cubs. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we've got not such good looking Styx cubs. And James wondering why, what's the difference? So it looks like the Styx cubs have a bout of mange. Now, fortunately, I think it's Dendrodrex mite. So mange is caused by a little arachnid, a mite, and I think they've got the least bad out of the two manges that we get out here. So hopefully they will make a full recovery at some point. So it doesn't look like it's sarcoptic mange. Sarcoptic mange is the worst one. That's where that little mite actually buries itself in their skin, and we would be noticing a lot of sort of a bit more scaling, although it could be, I'm not 100% sure yet, and there's no way to tell without actually catching them, and we don't want to do that. So we would probably see a little bit more open wounds and sort of pus blisters and more scaling of the skin if it was sarcoptic mange. So I'm hoping it's I can't remember now. Dendrex. Dendrex is the other form of mange that's reasonably common out here. Now, animals can recover from it quite quickly, and a couple of good meals might help them. But so far for me, the Styx, apart from looking absolutely horrible, they don't look in the worst condition. So although mange can affect big cats and other animals quite badly, and can cause loss of appetite and things like that, which can lead to death. But fingers crossed that those Styx cubs make a full recovery. Yes, but it is such a stark difference, Styx and the Nkahuma cubs. Demodectic mage, thank you, Final Control. Hello, and we're on fresh tracks of Nkahuma Pride and cubs, and these look really good. I just need to check if anyone's driven this road today. It's a bit hard, so I can't unfortunately show them to you just yet. Has anyone driven central from Drakensberg towards Nyala Road North this afternoon? Tracks of Nkahuma and cubs heading west along Central Road. I'm following up. So this looks like the rest of the 4 females that weren't seen this morning and the other 5 cubs, and they've walked down here. So we're going to see where they go. They look quite nice and fresh. Brian, eyes up. I'm going to keep my eyes on the road. So I do, oh yeah, they're still there. Apologize if I'm hanging off the side of the vehicle. It's because I'm trying to make sure we don't miss where those tracks go. So hopefully we can find the Nkahuma Pride before the end of the sunset safari. And Brian has got incredible spotting eyes, so I don't need to worry about looking around. I can concentrate on following the tracks, and Brian can help me spot. And cameraman presenter is definitely a team, and we would be nowhere without our incredible cameraman out here. Oh, look at them. They basically marched down the whole road here. They took it over. It's a lion highway. They might have gone off there. Let's just have a look over the bump. Nope, still got tracks here. Looks like they went down there towards the Nyala Road south. Oh, is that a lion lying there? No, that's an piece of elephant dung. Just want to double check. So it doesn't look like they went this way. Looks like they've cut into the thicket here. I just want to go have a look from Inyala Road south quickly, and we get onto that high ground and look down into the river system. So while we try to find these lions, Alexander, hi, who's in Canada, he says, how does someone like me who lives in Canada or elsewhere out, not in Africa, get into this sort of line of work? Well, there's a couple of different options. You can sign up on a game ranging course or a cameraman's course and see an intern at different places to try and get placement. And I think that's the best way for me, is go do the course and stuff, and then be keen, offer yourself as an intern, and quite often as much as you can learn out of books, etc., there's no substitute for actual experience. And I mean, Brian is a perfect example. Brian, how much formal camel training do you have?
I don't have any.
There we go. And he's one of the best, he actually, if not one of the best live cameramen in the world when it comes to wildlife. And we're very lucky. So Brian was lucky enough, he got offered the opportunity to learn on the job, and that's what he did. Now, of course, it's a little bit easier for us out here in Africa, but where there's a will, there's a way, and how your path leads you to end up in the African bush, well, that's your story to tell. Okay, I'm just going to sit up a bit higher so I can see. Is that a vulture? And where are you going? Okay, so I need to concentrate on finding us some lions before the end of the sunset safari, as that vulture flies over. I can't see any other vultures, so it might have been confused. So while we try to figure out exactly where the Nkuhuma pride's gone, let's go back to Stef, who's marching about somewhere.
Let's see if we can get them crossing this little divide here. It's quite a big herd of kudu. I would say probably around about 8 to 10 individuals. Now they have seen me, so what I'm going to try and do is not look at them directly. That's the key with these animals, to not look like you're sneaking. So I'm going to walk quite boldly in the open, and then we are going to turn right here. VM, you can stand in this gap here, and I'm still not going to look at them. I'm just going to, out the corner of my eye, and then you'll see, there you go, old female there. We're probably standing about 50 yards or so from them at the moment. We're feeling secure in the bush. No male kudus with them. Female kudu herds, well, females are always in herds. I've never seen female kudu on their own. And with the babies that you normally have in the herd, they actually generate a lot of interest from predators, and male kudu know this and stay quite far away from females. They are called the ghosts of the bush, and you can see why. There's probably 8 or 9 animals in there weighing on average, let's say 200 pounds, and we can only just see 1 or 2 of them flitting through the bush, exactly the same color as the bush. Just see them there, same color, just in the gap there. VM's doing a fantastic job. They're actually almost invisible to us. You can see there's some more coming now from your right into that gap, stopping and starting. There's one now, you can just see that trumpet shaped ear. That is a kudu, everybody. That dark patch there, just right of center. Here comes an old female right into the open here. You can see she knows exactly who we are. That white milk moustache. Oh, beautiful. Huge trumpet-shaped ears, catching every single sound here. She looks like she's just seen us for the first time, actually. Let's see what she does. The key would be looking at her tail. Ah, there we go. Shows you how much she cares about us. Full-grown Kudu cow. 200 pounds, maybe 250 pounds at her heaviest. And pregnant at the moment. They will be having their babies in January. January, February is where the Kudu have their babies. And one of the largest antelope that we find out here. You don't find them much bigger than this. You find animals at the same size. About waterbuck and wildebeest and zebra, in actual fact, are antelope that are all around about the same size as a Kudu. And perfect lion food. Lions are supremely developed to hunt Kudu, or anything actually in a prey range between 100 pounds and about, let's call it an even, 50 and 300 kilograms. So 100 pounds to 600 pounds roughly. That's what a single lion is geared to hunt. And these Kudu do form a lovely part of lions' dinners. But now on that macabre note, we're going to leave this beautiful herd of Kudu on its own, not running away from us anymore, very calm in this bush just on the other side of this little ravine, and they are flitting off, going to go and get some dinner. They'll be doing a lot of feeding now at night time. With the drought now, there's not that many leaves, and the leaves that are here are not that nutritious, and so you find a lot of Kudus are feeding now into the dark. And we will have a full moon available with us in, I don't know if it's tonight or it was last night, but we are going to have a lot of light for the first part of this evening. Now there's also a giraffe here. I want to see if we can get to see him. So come with me. Let's see if we can see this giraffe. Yeah, I can see him through the trees over there. He's standing a bit far away from us, but we should be able to get a nice view. And just get him through the trees in actual fact. Two giraffe. No, one giraffe and one big stick. So there's the giraffe. Also standing in the bushes. He's now actually standing a little bit in the open. Seen us a long time ago. I think he's watching those Kudu, catching his attention. See if we can get a little bit closer to him. It is going to be a bit of a nightmare to get down here. How do you think, VM? Do you think you'll be able to walk down here?
Yes.
Okay, alright. So let's try get down here. Watch out for that. Oops, good save there, VM. Hopefully you all enjoyed that ride on the way down the side of this little ravine. And now for the march back up again. There you can see what looks to be a female giraffe. And the only way that we'll really be able to tell is by zooming in on the horn tips. From here, it's obvious that I can't see onto her belly, but I'm using the horn tips as a reference. Bald horn tips are males, tufted horn tips are females. But at this distance, it's also difficult to say. I would almost say that because they're so delicate and they don't have that robust nature that a full-grown male giraffe would have, that this is a full-grown female giraffe. Now I'm busy using my binoculars, and I can absolutely confirm with you that that is a full-grown, in pretty good condition, female giraffe. She is beautiful. There you can definitely see that. Quite delicate horn, definitely not used for sparring, or neck sparring that the males do. And so she has no use for big horny skulls and bony protrusions on the front of her head. Let's see if we can get a bit closer to her. She's just drifting off into the twilight here. Now she is moving, but we should be able to see her here. And similar to those kudu, what you don't want to do with giraffe is approach them directly. They don't enjoy that. You want to approach them at a bit of an angle. And what we'll do is we'll see if we can get into the open here and give you a quick look at her. It's going to take us probably another 20 seconds to be in a prime spot. Let's see here. There we go. Nice silhouette through the trees. That's probably about the best that we'll get. It's a little bit open, a little bit further to the left or right. But definitely enough for us to see those very delicate horns. There we go. All right, so we are going to link over to, I think, Brent. Excuse me. I don't know who we're going to link over to, but we're going to be linking over to one of the guides for an update. Oh, James, excuse me. You're going to be going over to James for an update quickly, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit.
Hello everybody. We have just come down into the drainage system here. I was giggling because of our new buffer thing with that rather cross-sounding elephant, and I suspect it'll change in the next little while, but it's a nice little experiment that we're doing. Now, Brent Leo Smith has come into this area and he has managed to find some tracks of the pride, so we're just going to help him out around here. I think that lioness and the rest of the pride killed somewhere in here during the course of last night, and they ate, and then she went back to the littlest cubs, and because they're just not quite old enough to be moving with the pride. That will happen very soon, but at the moment they're not quite there yet. Ooh, Eggsy. In this tree is a white-browed scrub robin, and you can hear it going. Can you hear it? I can't see it. Yes, I can. I can see it. I'm going to move forward. Everyone, if we can get this bird making this call, I will be so excited. Okay, Eggsy, can you see it? Have you got it? That is remarkable. Are you sure you've got it? Are you at max zoom? It's there. Okay, we can see it with the naked eye. We're just going to... There he is! Look! Unfortunately, not his beak. Let me move a little bit forward. Eggsy, don't zoom out. I'm just going to sneak slightly forward. There. Perfect. Oh, put your head down. There he is. That's the white-browed scrub robin giving his evening call. Now, he does this sometimes as an alarm, and sometimes just when the sun goes down, before he does one or two more. Oh. He didn't like that. He didn't like that very much. We might try it again. That's me, everyone, obviously, not the bird. He is a magnificent fellow. We don't get to see them like this, everyone. This is really cool. And it's because they're in such thick trees like this that we don't get to view them. But I've clearly shut him up. He didn't want to do his churring call while there was a, well, bit of a louder male around. See how he's puffing himself out? Not sure if that's because he thinks he's being observed by another one, or perhaps because it's getting a little bit cold down here in the drainage system. This, of course, is where the katabatic flow will send the cold air as the sun begins to set. And Louise says that she reckons he looks like a brown tennis ball when he's all puffed up. I suppose he does. He's a rather splendid fellow. Eggsy, that is my favourite bird out here. You don't sound amazed, Eggsy.
He's very quiet.
He's very quiet now, that is correct. Alrighty, let's leave him there and we'll go and see if we can find some lions. I think I always say to you that when we do see them, I always say it's so rare to spend any time and look at them. But it is really. Now, we must be careful in these parts to see if we can't see the tracks of the lions. I suspect they killed something in this rather thick block here. And the tracks that Brent is on are on a road that we didn't drive this morning, so I'm not sure where those would have been from. Brent would now like to speak with me on the radio. Brent, Leah Smith, come in.
They lay down and they sort of go sort of southeast towards that bend on Baccalea, but where it turns away from the drainage system and heads towards Drakensberg. Quite quick now, like too far, I don't know.
So you heard that. He said they're on this road, or the tracks came towards this road. Copy, thanks. I'm in basically nearing that position now. And he reckons that they were heading towards Drakensberger Road up there. So the drainage line goes down that away, and now the road moves or bends slightly away from it, and he said this is where he reckoned that those tracks were coming. So we'll drive very slowly along here, and viewers in the eye like I'm doing now, or to look where we're driving. It's simply not possible to do both. Yeah, now this is where he reckoned that they may have popped out. Alice in Ohio, you want to know if Eggsy has a favourite bird. Until very recently, Eggsy couldn't identify a bird. He didn't really know the difference between a chicken and a hornbill. That is not to cast any aspersions on him. I didn't know the difference between a chicken and a hornbill when I moved to the bush. So let's ask him. Eggsy, do you have a favourite bird other than a chicken?
I've got nothing.
You've got nothing?
Nope.
He doesn't know, you see. He will soon, I promise, Alice. Let's ask him. Let's give him a couple of weeks. Yeah. And when he's starting to identify the birds on his own, he'll be able to tell you.
Lilac-breasted.
Lilac-breasted roller. There we go. Lilac-breasted roller, everybody. Because you confuse it for a kingfisher. That's correct. That's not a bad thing. Eggsy, don't worry. Like I say to you, when I arrived in the bushveld, I could not identify the difference between a bantam hen and a hornbill. Alright, let me concentrate a little bit here, everyone. I'm going to drive up onto Drakensberger Road. I can't see any tracks here. It's quite difficult terrain. Let's go across to Brent and get it from the horse's mouth, as it were, as to where those tracks went.
Exciting times. We know the Nkuhumas are somewhere in this block to the west of us. So I went for a walk into that real big thicket section almost below the sun there. And I don't want to push my luck too much walking at this time of the day, especially in thickets where there are cubs. Now, I'm just going to switch off here. James is coming through from that area, so I let him know where the last tracks looked like they were going to pop out if they carried on walking. But on my walk, I actually found something that, Brian, you'd never seen before.
No.
So, I don't know, there we go. Look at that. That is a piece of elephant ivory. Quite old, and it's from a fight. So you can see it's a break, and not quite a jagged break. So this is an elephant tusk that's broken. So what we do when we do pick up things like this is we hand it in to the Sabi Sand. So that's what we're going to do, just in case someone who's not as honest as us happens upon it while walking. So this is from a natural occurrence. You do find pieces of ivory all over the bush. Well, not all over the bush, but you don't find them that often. You can actually see how porcupine, and it looks like porcupine from the teeth marks, and some other small rodents have chewed on the ivory to get calcium. Judging from the wear, it's probably been sitting out there for a good, probably over 20, 30 years. Now, if you have a look at the side that was sitting to the ground, there you've still got that smooth sort of ivory spot where it was touching the ground. Just have a look. So, not much of it was touching the ground. It was sitting in quite a strange place. So it was sitting like that, and you can see that little section there, completely protected, and it's got that wonderful smooth ivory feel. But the rest of it is worn. So even something like ivory will disintegrate in the bush over time. It takes a lot longer than bone and other things, but it is possible that it will disintegrate. So very, very cool. I must hand that in. And now, I'm hoping that these Nkuhumas are hunting. It's the right time of the day, and it wouldn't be nice to see the Nkuhuma hunting in the sunset. Beautiful sunset so far this evening. Now, James is heading up towards where I am, so I'm pretty sure that those Nkuhuma lines are no more than a couple of 100 meters from us. And they said it's quite a thick area, lots of guarri thickets, and if they do have cubs, especially as the sun is setting and the lion changes from the timid cat that is scared of people during the day to the dominant nocturnal predator, one must be a little bit cautious. And I saw James. I'm going to have a quick chat with him so we can make our plan on how we're going to continue. Here he comes with Eggsy. He obviously hasn't had any luck with tracks coming out. Ah, maybe he has. There are old tracks there from 2 days ago. Not from today. There we go. Come there, he says. Okay. Come hither, says Henri. Hello.
There's a lioness. There. Not the lioness itself. Just a footprint from it. Maybe from her going to feed yesterday?
Maybe. So Jamie and I tracked them through here on Monday.
It's not a fresh one, no?
Not a fresh one. Look what we found.
Oh.
While I was looking for the lions.
Task.
A task.
Giving credence to our theory about your other one.
Very much so.
Yeah.
If you look at this. So we've picked up another piece of tusk. Well, I think it's tusk, but it's actually a fossil now. So it's not a tusk, it's a rock.
Amazing.
but a lot of people think it's a tree. And if we look at this and you look at the wearing on the other tusk, I think it's definitely a fossilized elephant tusk.
Did you track 1 or 2 lions last when you came through here with Jamie?
3. There's another track here somewhere.
Because that lioness from today looked very full, like she'd eaten last
A
night.
vulture came,
Did you
just
see a
one
vulture?
came out of this block
Okay.
earlier, but I don't want to take too much risk in the guarri thickets at this time of the day with little cubs around.
I will go Mamba.
Okay.
See what
There were Franklin alarm calling, but right in those little drainage systems, and I wasn't going
All right.
to stick my head in there. Okay, well, we're going to continue on.
the other side.
So, a while ago, as James is saying, I picked up what I was convinced was a tusk, and a lot of other people have thought it wasn't. They thought it was a piece of a fossilized leadwood. Now, the interesting thing about a fossil, and I've been lucky enough to spend a lot of time with people who know a lot more about fossils than I do. And one of the tricks I got taught is if you do this, you stick your tongue to any old animal, bone or whatnot. If your tongue sticks to it, it's a fossil from the calcification process. If it doesn't, it's not. Oh, look at that sun. Let's just get past the little bush, get you a clear view. As the sun disappears behind the clouds on another exquisite African evening. Now the only thing that could possibly make it more exquisite is if the Nkuhumas could make an appearance. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to sit and watch this incredibly beautiful scene as the sun sinks and use our ears to see if maybe the Nkuhumas slip up and something can tell us where they are. Isn't that just special? Magic hour. How many seconds till it's gone, Brian? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5. Oh no, 1.5. 1 1/4. 1 half 0. Hey, well done, Brian. You're spot on. Okay, we didn't hear anything of the lions around, but hopefully they might make an appearance. They're definitely, I'm 100% sure they're in this block, but it is quite an interesting block because it's got a lot of little ravines in it and quite a lot of guarri thickets. Now, for example, if we'd found those tracks at sort of 3:30 in the afternoon, I would have felt far more comfortable walking into there, and even if they'd growled at me or seen me, we could have found them like that. This time of the day, a lion is switching modes. It knows as the sun sets, it's becoming the dominant predator. Probably 9 times out of 10 I'd be fine, but the day you stopped really respecting the bush and those little rules and you start taking them for granted is the day the bush catches up with you. And I don't think I'm quite ready for retirement just yet. Okay, so we've just watched something set. Stef's got something that's rising.
Have a look at that. So we did predict it quite right. Tonight is the full moon and it is rising above quarantine clearings. Now it is a bit shaky. It's because the wind is blowing and that was at full max zoom, and we have walked today probably close to about 6 miles, and that was VM's fatigue coming through there in his arms. But Without further ado, let's walk a little bit forward here towards the moon, but there's also a woodpecker that's busy hunting over here, and I want to see if we can see it before it gets too dark. Come along, and let's see if we can do it. I think that this woodpecker is either in this fallen down tree, which is just a little bit over my right shoulder, either in that fallen down tree there, or in the marula underneath the moon. So we're just going to take a bit of time to listen. Okay, let's carry on going and then we'll stop and listen again. That's how you hunt down a woodpecker. Not quite as dramatic as hunting down a lion, but nevertheless, probably a bit more colourful. I have a feeling that this woodpecker is on that dead bough. Ah, and we have a new viewer to our show. Travis, welcome to the Wild Earth team. I'll just get a hand signal here. Anyway, Travis, welcome to the Wild Earth team. Sorry, I got distracted over there. I'd Herbert going like this to me, which generally means there's something with horns or teeth that want to come and rip my head off. But Travis, welcome aboard. Welcome to the show. You caught us busy looking for a woodpecker while we're giving James and Brent some time to try and track down those lions that they're with. Come through here and let's see if we can get a bit closer to the tree while I answer your actual question was, do I like my job? Now, Travis, I absolutely like my job. I think I like to describe myself as being born to field guide. It was one of these things that came, not quite naturally, but one of these things that came to me out of the blue, and I realized at quite a young age that this is all I really want to do with my life is field guide, and I have been doing it now for about 17 years. I love doing this job. I think this woodpecker has actually flown off here, Liam. What do you think? I did hear the call of a golden-tailed woodpecker answered by a mate off to the right-hand side, but let's get a bit closer. Maybe we're lucky and he's still hanging around, although I think our luck has flown on the wings of a golden-tailed woodpecker. Yes, I don't hear the tapping. There he is. That deet noise you may have heard in the distance is him. Let's carry on going. Maybe we're lucky and we get to see him. It's quite nice. Oh, there we go. And there's another partner. Okay, got both of them. So we've got them both on that tree, the male and the female. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. There you go. Golden-tailed woodpecker. Quite a rare sight out here. Brent and I were actually having a chat the other day about how we hear golden-tailed woodpecker, but we don't really see them at all. I think let's try and get a little bit closer and see if we can get you a nice shot of this particular woodpecker. If we don't approach the tree too quickly, there we go, and they're both together on the same branch with the moon in the background. So off on the right hand side, there's one that's just flown there. The other one is up there. We're going to have to get a bit closer, I think. Let's see if they come back down to that branch. They may very well have a nest in there. There we go, at the top of the tree here. Not the top, but there we go. Nice work. Now, believe it or not, a woodpecker uses their tongue like a spear. They have a barb on their tongue, and their tongue can extend past the end of their beak. Now, to do that, they need incredibly long muscles attached to their tongue. And they actually have the muscle attachment points of their tongue on their forehead. So their tongue muscles stretch from here, join about here, and then form a big streak around the back of their head, splitting again and coming in underneath the jaw. And they can extend this harpoon-like tongue to spear a grub and then to bring it out of a hole into their mouth. Can you imagine having your tongue attached to the top of your forehead? Just give that some thought. It makes these animals incredibly impressive for me. Oh, they flew off. And that was basically the golden-tailed woodpecker pair that we have living on this side of quarantine. It's good that we got to see them. I'm quite happy. Ooh, what a pleasant part of the evening. Now, back to James, who's got an update on those tracks that he's busy with at the moment.
The update is that we have found no more tracks, everybody, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. I was a little worried that I may have driven over some on that road where I was talking to you last. Behold, Eggsy, a duiker. The duiker is looking at something, not just Eggsy's impressive beard. I was trying to remember while we look at that duiker exactly whose beard Eggsy reminds me of. I don't know if you've seen the series Vikings. Eggsy does not look unlike Ragnar Lothbrok from the series Vikings. He doesn't have quite the same number of muscles. He's got almost the same number of tattoos, though. Don't you, Eggsy? That duiker was looking quite nervously towards the drainage system, but is now moving on at a sedate, dressage-like pace. And we will just also show you from this position the Moonrise. That's that big shiny thing in the sky there. Well, that's it. Very nice. You can see it there, just pictured beautifully in between the trees. Hello, Jackie's class in Illinois, the United States. Kids, I'm sorry you're back at school, but at least you're watching Safari Live while you're at school and enjoying it. So welcome back to school. I hope you had a good summer break, and I also hope that you have a great year ahead at school. And just remember, don't believe anybody who says to you that school days are the best days of your life. It will get better, I promise. Come and work at Wild Earth, come and work at Safari Live. Those will be the best days of your life. Fear not. I always, not to cast aspersions on Jackie's class or any other person who happens to be in the very noble position noble profession of teaching. What are those? Oh, they're duikers. Or bushbuck. There's a duiker and a bushbuck. Sorry, I'll get back to that just now. They're eating jackalberries at this jackalberry tree, which I like to visit every day because it's fruiting now. It's not a bushbuck, it's just two duiker. I'm just going to stop here because I do get quite nervous, as you know. I got so excited, everyone, because as we stopped, I thought, those look like jackals eating jackalberries. But they aren't, are they, Eggsy? No. Eggsy wasn't confused at all. Let's move a little bit closer. See if he'll let us get any closer. Let me turn the lights off, that might make him a little bit less skittish. Oh, don't worry, you can come back, I promise we won't be here for long. Eggsy, that duck is positively terrified, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if I saw Ragnar Lothbrok coming towards me in the back of a Land Rover, I'd also be terrified. So those duiker love to eat a bit of fruit. They're the most omnivorous, I believe, of the antelope species that we get here. Right, let's move on. We'll just pop onto the dam wall here. Louise, if you heard clicking, it's because my elbow hit the radio. Sorry about that. Yes, she was deeply confused for 30 seconds. I love this particular spot. It's a log. I just like it because it's of the deep trees, and especially on a hot summer's day, nothing nicer than sitting under a deep shaded jackalberry with something pleasant to drink, of course. Right, we'll just take a look off the top of the dam wall here, and then we're going to head towards the west along the southern boundary. Now, that is a normal patrol that we like to do, of course, when we know that Karula is south of us. Unfortunately, Karula, well, fortunately for Arathusa, but not so much for us, is on Arathusa, as you saw today. And if you haven't been with us the whole time, Brent had a lovely sighting of Karula and the two cubs on Arathusa. They're fine. She's managed to kill again. She's doing a spectacular job of keeping the impala numbers down, and she really is a quite remarkable leopard. Nope, nothing going on from the top of the dam wall. We'll go down the bottom, and I'll just show you some of what used to be, and it seems it's dried up. Look at this. This was the last remaining water that we had about a week ago. Let me just put my hand in there and see if we can get a little bit of mud. The last time I came past here, we had wild dogs swimming in here. And there's a little bit of moisture, but it's pretty much dry. Yeah. I was hoping to be able to retrieve a little piece for you, but I think I might do myself an injury. It's so clay rich that it hardens. Here we go. This is quite interesting, everyone. Right, there we go. So that is a piece of zebra wood, and it's got in there, I suspect quite strongly, on the bottom of an elephant's foot. I reckon one of these spines probably went into the elephant's foot, and he just walked along here, and as he walked through the mud, it was sucked out. Now, whether he did that on purpose or not, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me to know that elephants did do that on purpose, but they have those very sort of thick calluses at the bottom of their feet, and those calluses will, I mean, I'm sure it hurt a little bit, but it will protect them from these things, and their feet don't feel hard, and they've got those cracks in between them, so I think lion's calling. Most of the way to the moon. They're a long, long way away. So I think he probably decided that this was a good spot to get rid of the fawn. Quite clever, really. And you can see there is some moisture under there, but it's dried out within the last few days. Alrighty, on we go. That's really interesting. I wonder if that elephant didn't do that on purpose. Didn't surprise me in the slightest. Oh dear, Eggsy, we seem to have come down an illegal route. Now we're stuck. Fear not, everyone. With braveness and fortitude, Eggsy and I will manage to escape. Alright, let's go back across to Stefan, the mystic Boer, who is actually the darkness Boer at the moment, because I'm amazed he's still out. Let's go and say goodbye to him.
Yeah, we're not out for too much longer, Brent, don't worry, but thank you for your concern. We just thought that this would be such an epic place to say goodbye to you in, because the moon is rising over my shoulder, or over my head. I don't quite know what BM is looking at the moment, and it's just such a clear moon. I don't know, these winter nights that are nice and crisp without too much dust before the August winds start blowing. They haven't really started just yet. We had a little bit of a wind this afternoon, but not too much. But before the dust gets kicked into the atmosphere too much and makes moonrises red rather than that brilliant white. we thought that we'd say goodbye to you from here. But before I do that, I just want to point out this unbelievable orange wood. Now, I'd forgotten how yellow, or how this orange is actually a better word, how orange the wood of a silver cluster leaf tree is. It's so against the bark on the outside, which is this grey bark. They have a dark green leaf with a silvery inside, and then who ever thought that they'd have this magnificently coloured wood on the inside? Now, for those of you who watched yesterday, you would have noticed that I built a spoon out of a piece of apple leaf. This is a wood that you do not want to build a spoon out of. You can just see how angry these splinters are. Have a look at how sharp that is. I definitely won't be rubbing my lip up and down one of these. But what the traditional use for this particular tree is for implement handles and for fence posts and for struts in the roofs of buildings. It's an incredibly hard piece of wood. You'll notice that even me trying to pull this little piece out here is requiring considerable effort, and one that I'm not really getting that way. You can hear there. A very, very hard, brittle wood that is termite resistant and quite bendy, I must be honest with you, but not, I would say it's yielding, but it's incredibly hard. I mean, I'll put some effort trying to break this. There we go, eventually got it right. You can have a look at that beautiful color. It's actually got quite a nice smell as well. Quite hard to say. I would say it smells like a seasoned piece of door frame. And I'm only using reference to that. You know, in a wooden house you get these door frames that smell awesome. I just like smelling door frames. They have a tendency to have a history around them. But anyway, what we're going to do, those hardy-dars, yeah. So there you have some hardy-dar ibis that have just flown off in formation. Travis has just asked me if I get to see my family at all because I work out in the bush. Travis, I do. I go home on weekends, so I get to see my family on weekends. Sometimes I manage a long weekend. I get to leave here on a Thursday afternoon and then I get back on a Monday afternoon, or leave on a Friday and get back on a Tuesday and make it work like that. But yes, I do see my family as often as I'd like, of course. But to work in a place like this, sitting when everybody else on the planet is sitting in rush hour traffic, and we get to, well, rush hour at least at this time of the day, and we get to enjoy these beautiful afternoons out here in the bush. But it's worth it, I think, for now. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye from myself, Stef, and from VM and from Herbert. We've had a wonderful afternoon stroll. We did a lot of kilometers today, tracking up and down, looking for interesting things here in the bush. I'm sure VM's going to enjoy putting his feet up and taking the backpack off. I want to say thank you to all of you for sending through your questions and your comments as usual, and for watching, of course. That's the most important thing. So from us, thank you to the girls in FC. All the best wherever you are on the planet, and see you again soon for another bushwalk.
Unfortunately, the Nkuhumas didn't come out of that block. I'm quite certain we're going to have some luck with them on the sunrise safari in that area. And I'm very excited to get on those tracks when it's a little bit safer to follow them on foot. And well, nice to know that they're still on the property. They haven't decided to visit somewhere else. And of course, Queen Karula and her 2 cubs should still be on that impala kill tomorrow morning on Arathusa. And you never know what else might be around. Of course, I feel like we need haven't seen Benjamin Button for a while. Benjamin Button is a young elephant. He looks older before his time. So hopefully we'll catch up with his herd. And I'm quite looking forward to actually getting a nice view of old Hole in the Ear, the sometimes naughty elephant bull. But as we come towards the end of the sunset safari, Brian and I have played this game before, but we've got you a little bit earlier than usual to try and make it a bit better. We're going to see how many silhouettes we can get on quarantine. Let us see how many silhouetted animals we can get on quarantine. Brian, it's not looking hopeful, is it? It's not even looking like we might get an impala silhouette at the moment. We can definitely guarantee Marula, Terminalia and Jackleberry silhouettes. There they all are. Silhouette away. But not the animal silhouettes we were looking for. Just a quick reminder to everyone, don't forget, I know it's still a long way away, but one mustn't forget that in a mere 11 days, it is Killer Bee Day. And we will be celebrating everything Killer Bee, and hopefully the animals will play along. We're also going to play some Killer Bee games on the 28th of August. It will run both consecutively through the sunrise and sunset safari. Now, apparently we got told that it is also International Bow Tie Day, so I think we might have to find ourselves some bow ties before then. Next town trip, I think I might actually, oh no, I sent my bow tie home. I wasn't thinking. Do you own a bow tie? I don't. Oh, you don't? I only got one this year. I only got a tuxedo this year. Oh, there's always the option. I think that's a very good idea. We could always make a bush bow tie out of natural ingredients from the African bush. I think Stef, with his amazing carving, rope making and other skills, would probably quite easily be able to make a bow tie. Speaking of Stef, there he is, returning home. Should we ask him, Brian? Yeah. I think we should. I think we should ask him if... here we go. There's Herbie, Stef and Vim. Stef, on the 28th of August, it's International Bow Tie Day. It's also Killer Bee Day. And we're wondering, do you think you could make a bow tie out of something on bushwalk?
No, Brent, I'm not playing your sick game.
It was Final Control, not me.
I'll think about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you see, Stef, Vim and Herbie are nearly home. We're going to do one last peruse of quarantine, looking for hopefully a white-tailed mongoose or something like that. How was your work, sir?
Tell me what you think that smells of. We thought it smells like somewhere at the top of door. I thought it smelled like a door frame.
It smells like pine.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
We're having a debate on what this piece of Terminalia smells like. We've just done a closing with this piece of Terminalia.
It does almost smell like worked wood, like something that's been through a sawmill.
I don't know, I'm going to throw it on the fire now and see what it smells like with some burning. Anyway,
Yeah.
again, bye-bye again.
Bye.
Bye, wildebeest.
Oh, Vim. The wonderful Vim. And then, of course, the wonderful Herbie to the other side, keeping everyone safe. There we go. Thanks, Herb. We'll see you at the fire just now.
Thanks, enjoy.
Hi, Piggledy in North Hollywood. Piggledies, have there been any results on the camera traps we set up? I have. I've been a bit naughty. I've had quite a lot of work to do, and there's about 3,000 different video files to sort through, so I have sorted through some of them, and I will start sharing them shortly. So we have got porcupine, we have genet, civet of the nocturnal creatures, lots of buffalo, lots of elephant, lots of emerald spotted wood doves, lots of impala, lots of general game. But yes, and both have gone in, been dumped, recharged, and I've got both of them ready for when I see a spot. Actually today Brian and I checked 2 different aardvark burrows that were active, and was hoping that we would find one that was in use at the moment and we could pop a camera trap in front of the aardvark burrow. Wouldn't that be amazing? But unfortunately the elephants have actually collapsed the one we were most positive on getting a reaction out of. But thank you very much for joining the Killer Bees, and everyone beware. Well, the ware thumb is out and about a day early, but he's so strong he doesn't need to have full moon to be out prowling. So residents of the DRC better be careful. But while we continue to talk nonsense, let's go back to James so he can also say goodbye.
We have come into the western sector of Djuma, everyone, to see if we can't find the leopard that Herbert found. Well, he didn't find that, he found the tracks this morning. And, well, we might be lucky. We have a few minutes left. We're on Zoe's road, and maybe he or she, well, it was a he, but I think Shadow is around here somewhere. Listen to that. You hear that, everybody? That is the unquestionable sound of the summer. And why it has started now is because we had that tiny, tiny little bit of rain this morning. And what's happened there is that the cicadas have come out of the ground, some of them, and you can hear them calling. They're not really in the trees so much as they are underneath. Probably just popped out of the rootstocks and making their way up to the tops of the trees, as Eggsy shows us our favourite torchwood. So that's a really nice little sign of the summer, isn't it? And that's brought on by just that tiny little millimetre of rain that we had earlier today. Brilliant. I love the sound of cicadas, if they're not too close. That was a cricket there. There are lots of them around here. So cool. And they're all much lower down than they are in the winter, in the summertime. That's so exciting. All right, everybody, that's going to be it from... Thank you very much for joining us. A big thank you to BLS and Brian Joubert on the other vehicle, and of course lovely to have Stef and Herbert and VM out on foot. Wonderful stuff. Big thank you to Louise in the final control, of course, and she was ably assisted by Rebecca. Mostly to all of you for giving us of your time. It's lovely always to talk to you, and thank you for all your conversation. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 0600. Until then, stay safe and happy.